the chapter divisions in the Bible don't mean anything. Okay? That's not an overstatement. Well, maybe it is, depending on what mean means. They're not original. They're not inspired. They were added 1,000 years later. Okay? The chapter divisions are not that important. When Isaiah was writing and John was writing, they're just writing. They're not sticking in verses and chapters. We do that to help us navigate, get around. So ignore them when you're reading. It helps here. So what's the context? Nicodemus, I think, is one of those people in verse 23. And the reason for saying verse 23 to 25 is to set us up for Nicodemus. So if you want to see what's wrong with the belief in verse 23, when they saw his signs, then keep reading. All right, so let's do that. So verse 25 ends, Jesus himself knew what was in man. Now there was a man. See the connection? Now he knew what was in man. Now there was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. This man came to Jesus by night and said to him, Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher come from God, and no one can do these signs. Back up to verse 23 of chapter 2. That you do unless God is with him. Now that's amazing faith. It's not saving faith. He's not even born again. We know you are a teacher from God. You're not any ordinary teacher. You are from God. They don't go around saying that about everybody. And you do signs, and these are the kinds of signs nobody can do unless God is with him. So, you're from God, God is with you, you're doing miracles. That's amazing faith. And useless, dead, unregenerate faith. That's what I think is going on in verse 23. These are sign mongers. These are sign seekers. These are signs and wonders chasers. Nicodemus and the rest. I don't think Nicodemus stays that way, by the way. I think one of the points of this gospel as he shows up at the end of the gospel is that Jesus did get through to him. So, in John 3, 1-8, I think you have a picture of what's wrong with the people in verse 23 of chapter 2 who were believing on him. Many believed in his name when they saw the signs that he was doing. They saw signs, and they were excited for him. You really do these. God is really with you. I mean, this is what all Jews believe. This is what all Muslims believe about Jesus. Right? Real prophet, real sign worker, and hell-bound, just like Nicodemus. There was no life. There's no spiritual life. Nicodemus, you must be born again, Jesus says. This confidence about me is worthless. You will never see the kingdom of God unless there's life in you. Seeing me work signs and getting excited about my signs is not saving faith, Nicodemus.